Chinese chairman of the CCP visited Moscow. Russians have suddenly started to smoke very carelessly in Crimea. It's almost like they see the Chinese chairman approaching and they feel the sudden urge to take out the cigarette and extremely carelessly smoke it and throw away the butt, and boom. This is Russian-occupied Crimea, and this is Jankoy Air Base right here, and we can zoom into it. If I would go to Google Maps it would be more detailed, but I think this will do. This is the Jankoy military airfield. Russian air assets are stationed here right now, but supposedly Ukrainians did not attack this airfield. That is strange, isn't it? But look at this. This is a railway logistics hub. I know the quality isn't great, but look at these lines. Each of these lines is a railway track. 15 tracks next to each other here. This is the very first attack outside of Ukrainian supposed capability, outside of their supposed range, deep inside Russian territory, or, you know, Russian-occupied territory, that they admit. Yes, Ukrainian Defense Ministry actually officially admits this attack. They said they were striking this logistical train hub here. They were striking a train that was supposedly carrying cruise missiles. Now, I have issues with this theory because, I mean, look at Jankoy. Why would Russians put cruise missiles on a train here? Because cruise missiles can be put on Russian fighters and launched from deep inside Russia from airfields, fired in the air and then go back to Russia, do it safely. I mean, to put cruise missiles so close to the front, I don't see the point in it, but it's not important. What is important is that Ukrainians admit it. At the very same time, Xi Jinping is in Moscow. Coincidence? Look at these photos. These are the supposed pieces of the drone that attacked the train in Jankoy. They do look familiar. Yes, because there is a theory that this is actually partially a captured Iranian Shahed drone reprogrammed and refitted to attack this Jankoy airfield. This is why the troll faces on it are so visible. If true, then hilarious. I love Ukrainian humor. My name is Artur Rehi and I'll be bringing you news about the Ukrainian war and news all over the world. If you like my style and my videos, consider subscribing to the channel and become a patron. Links in the description below. Now, before we jump to the military map over Bakhmut, because the situation has been changed there, we have a video from Vladislav Chevchuk, a Ukrainian soldier in Bakhmut. He has an important message to us. Video is translated by Dmitry, aka War Translated. Link in the description below.
Зараз в соціальних мережах відбувається просто якась пандемія непідтвердженої інформації про те, що Бахмут впаде. З'являються якісь відео, де начебто українські військові відступають з міста. Це все елементи російської пропаганди, які мають на меті принизити нас. З усією відповідальністю, як людина, яка причетна до оборони.
I'm sorry to change the topic, but is this a tourniquet I'm seeing right here on his right shoulder? In Estonian army, we always carry them on the calf, on the, you know, next to the boot. There's a very small pocket there, and we carry them there so you can just grab it. But it's next to the shoulder. It's even faster from here, I guess. It's a good idea. Also, a grenade just attached to the vest casually. I like it. And look at these patches, a kitty cat. But yeah, his point is correct. I mean, it would definitely benefit Russian propaganda efforts if the Western media would believe that Ukrainians are pulling out of Bakhmut.
Українського незламного міста можу сказати, ніхто Бахмут не віддасть. Місто є кому обороняти. У нас є всі сили і засоби, а головне політична воля, якої нам так сильно не вистачало у 2014 році. Тут без перебільшення складно і тяжко кожної хвилини, але ми не здаємося. Ми будемо тримати наше місто. Немає ніяких причин для того, щоб сили оборони відступили і здали.
I mean, if you look at Bakhmut and in the last 6 months, then yes, it is true that Russians have been gaining ground extremely slowly with their human wave tactics. And you could almost say that Ukrainians have been deploying a fighting retreat, extremely effective and slow and methodical fighting retreat, making the Russians pay for every meter they capture with their blood. A very effective tactic, draining enemies' offensive capabilities to prepare for their own offense in the future, the spring offensive. I've talked about it before, and I think Ukrainians are using Bakhmut to drain Russia's offensive capabilities so they can do their spring offensive when Russia doesn't have any capabilities to counterattack. Also, there's the argument that if Ukrainians would pull out of the city, Russians would only continue to strike other cities. Right now they're focusing only on one, so it's better to keep the damage minimal, you know, contain the damage, contain the area of destruction. These are not my theories, these are the theories going around online and shared by analysts. And all of them have good points. You gotta make up your own mind, unfortunately.
Дали українську фортецю. Тому, шановні наші українці, без паніки, не вірте російським фейкам. Перемога буде за нами, але треба трішечки потерпіти. Слава Україні!
As I can see now, covering Bakhmut for the last year, basically, I can say there is no swift pulling out of Bakhmut for Ukrainians. They will very slowly fight and retreat to drain the enemy's capabilities. It is not giving away the city, it is not surrendering. It could be a very well thought through tactical maneuver, fight and retreat. And it serves a purpose. This photo comes from Noel, as you can see up here. The Twitter account link is in the description below. According to this map, Ukraine controls about half of Bakhmut and Russians are pushing on 3 sides, east, north and south. Ukrainians are very, very slowly and methodically pulling back. Russians are losing incredible amount of manpower here. The main issue for Ukraine is supplying the Ukrainian units inside Bakhmut, inside the urban front line, because this area here is about 4 kilometers wide. There are a few roads going out of Bakhmut, but they are muddy because it is mud season. Secondly, these roads are under the range of Russian artillery. And logically, if the road is under the Russian artillery, you would full throttle through it, full gas, speed up, go through. But it's Rasputitsa, the mud season, so you cannot really drive high speed in mud. That's the issue. And when you stop, Russian shells start falling. So supplying this contingent right here is difficult. It's not impossible, but it's tricky. Again, that's the war of logistics. If the ammunition and food starts to run out in Bakhmut, that's the issue. That's not the case right now. I'm not saying it's the case. It's just the potential of it. Another photo from Noel. This is north from Bakhmut. We can see Russians are pushing very heavily, but Ukrainians are containing them. And we have also reports of Ukrainian counterattacks. So every time Russians gain some trench lines, some small areas of fields, forest lines, Ukrainians do counterattack if it makes any sense to do so. Now, they don't do it blindly. They take into consideration what are the situation we see right now. The order just doesn't come from far away from Kiev like it does from Moscow. If it makes sense to counterattack and try to take back the ground, they will do it. That's what makes it so hard for Russians to advance. As soon as they grab some new area, they can expect a counteroffensive. And it can happen in the night because Ukrainian special forces have thermal and night capabilities in this area. Now we'll watch a very short clip from a trench line near Bakhmut. How is the situation? It's the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade. Okay, that's the typical location on the front. The trench is dry. It's incredibly, it's such a blessing when the trench is dry. Of course, you could say, oh, just dig the canals for water drainage. Well, this is shelled all the time. These canals will be shelled also to break them. This is a blessing. This here is a kitchen. We see pots, we see pans, we see mugs. You make everything with your gas burner, you know. That's how you live. Digging trench deeper, making some coffee. Okay, notice this field, right? They have a great view, very small opening. I mean, this log here doesn't really stop a bullet. I don't think it does, but this huge area of field, it's very hard to traverse for Russians because Ukrainians have such a wide visibility. And in night, I'm quite sure these frontline units have at least some thermal or night vision capabilities for platoon or for squad, at least one device. If it's on this post, it can scan all of this wide field, and I would say it's impossible to go over it with just manpower. You would need to use heavy armor, but it's Rasputitsa, very hard to use heavy armor, it will get stuck, it will move slowly over these fields. So I would say attacking this straight on with Russian human wave tactics, it's just suicide. Yet they do it, for some reason. And now the shooting begins. I cannot show you this part, unfortunately, I apologize. But it's exactly this happens. He opens fire from his position to the open fields, just shooting down whoever comes. Fist bump, brother. Of course, every soldier has a smartphone. I mean, not a good idea, but they do. You cannot individually control these soldiers. They have a smartphone and they have a battery bank. When I was in the military, of course, everybody told us, don't take your phones into the forest. It's a situation, they will locate your phones and bomb you. Everybody took their phones. So that's how it is with infantry. Phone is their connection with their mother, father, sister, brother, you know, wife, children. You tell them to leave that connection home, it makes it so much more difficult to be on the position. So they're gonna take the phone and they're gonna use it. These bullets don't seem to have any sign of aging on them. We were shooting bullets that were like 50 years old, 40 years old in the Estonian military. All old Swedish ammunition. We couldn't shoot through it fast enough before it went bad because we had so much AK-4 ammunition. They just gave it to us like, you gotta shoot this. It's going bad next year, you gotta fire it now to get some training. And we just tried to send as much as possible, you know. We don't have enough conscripts to send out the ammunition to the targets before it goes bad. What an ironic situation. We should give it to Ukraine, I guess. This report map again comes from Noel, link in the description below. And Russians have been attacking from Crimea and they actually made a small breakthrough. Crimea is near Severodonetsk city. This is the settlement of Dibrova, north from Dibrova. Here actually Russians made a breakthrough, but Ukrainians counterattacked because that's what they do. They don't just give away land. And they regained the area and re-established the defensive line. But active battles have been going on here actually almost as long as in Bakhmut. But here Russians have not been able to advance like in Bakhmut. But yes, this small breakthrough happened. Next video again comes from Dmitry, aka War Translated. Putin supposedly visited Mariupol. There's a lot of question marks about it, and we're talking about a man who is very much afraid about his safety. He doesn't trust people in his inner circle, and now he suddenly dares to go into Russian-occupied Mariupol, where there is still Ukrainian partisan movement. I do doubt it. Might have been a stunt double. But let's watch the video because he's visiting one of the new Russian-built flats. And things are not how they are supposed to be, as is the case usually with Russian construction.
Спасибо вам за победу. Вам держать.
Можете пройти посмотреть, если желание,
Да.
комнаты, если хотите. Если удобно.
Мы даже не верили, что мы в этом году получим.
Пройдите, вот кухня. Это все покупали, все, голые стены были. Только...
Заходите, заходите, можете полюбоваться.
So they're carrying in the furniture to the newly built Mariupol flats, and already you can see this is a Brezhnev furniture. No, I'm not judging people by their income or anything like that here, but if people have in a fresh new apartment this kind of furniture, that says something about where people live mentally. I mean, nobody in Estonia wants this furniture because it reminds them of the occupation times. This is the brown Brezhnev furniture that everybody had in the Soviet Union, and they're gonna put it in the newly built flat in 2023. It shows you where they are mentally.
Ну да, потолок.
Потолок?
Да.
Oh, look at this потолок. This is the ceiling, right? Newly built apartments with Putin's money. 5+, 5 star out of 5 star. Would visit again. Look at this. It's a beauty element. It's a design element right here. No, it's not water sinking through the ceiling. It's not. It's supposed to be like that. It's pretty. If you're gonna judge this, you don't understand style. It's obviously screwed. Chinese chairman of the CCP, Xi Jinping, I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, is on a visit to Moscow right now. He's gonna stay several days actually. There are several important political underlinings here. First, right before he visits, Putin is declared a criminal and arrest warrant is given out on his name by ICC. Secondly, Russia cannot hope to sustain momentum or initiative without the help of China in the long term. So, whatever they're talking about, China holds all the leverage, you can be sure about that. Thirdly, Western sanctions and the pullout of Western companies from Russia have created an enormous vacuum in the market, which is already being filled by China. So it is not a joke when I say, it's not a meme anymore when Xi Jinping says, I will own Russia, because they do. About 50% of the newly sold cars in Russia come from China. That's only the start. Putin felt that Western companies owned Russia before. He was very happy to get rid of them. Well, now Chinese companies are going to own Russia. Russia will never own Russia because their mindset is corrupt. I always like to watch these videos because the body language of those two leaders will tell you quite a lot. It tells you more than the language they speak or the words they use.
За последние годы Китай сделал колоссальный рывок вперед в своем развитии. Во всем мире это вызывает неподдельный интерес, и мы даже немножко вам завидуем.
I don't know why Putin always does it. Like, if you're shaking hands with somebody, you just give them your hand, right? Putin is doing this. Rises it up in the air and boom, goes down. I don't know why. He didn't do it before. It has been happening when the invasion started. Something happened to him. And I didn't know Xi Jinping is taller than Putin. Well, I guess everybody is taller than Putin. He's incredibly short.
Мы внимательно ознакомились с вашими предложениями по урегулированию.
What proposals he's talking about is the Chinese peace proposal. China proposed a peace document. Nobody is taking it seriously in the West, but Russia is taking it incredibly seriously because this document has everything that Russia needs. Peace with the current occupied areas going to Russia. So of course Ukraine and the Western powers are not going to take it seriously.
Острого кризиса на Украине. Конечно, у нас будет возможность обсудить этот вопрос. Знаем, что вы исходите из принципов справедливости и соблюдения основополагающих.
I don't know how they're sitting. Why do they give such like uncomfortable chairs? Or I'm the type of guy, if I sit down somewhere, I want to be comfortable. I put one leg over the other. I'm like leaning down, like being comfortable, you know, talking. But they seem, Putin doesn't seem comfortable at all. Like Xi Jinping maybe is like sitting like a dominant figure here a little bit. But Putin is like sinking into the chair a bit, I feel like. Maybe I'm overanalyzing this, I'm no psychologist. If you are, put it in the comments, what do you see here?
Положение международного права, неделимой безопасности для всех сторон. Вы также в курсе, что мы всегда открыты для переговорного процесса.
Oh God, if a Chinese leader tells you, I always call you my dear friend in front of cameras, that means he's getting ready to stab you in the back. That's how much I understand China. If I'm wrong, change my mind in the comments.
非常高兴能够应你之约再一次访问俄罗斯，并且是在我连任国家主席之后的首访国家。
There ends my analysis and yours begins. I'm very curious to see, guys. I know in the comments there's a lot of people who actually know how to read body language, so educate me. These are the average Russian losses per day in the last month, and we have close to 1,000 troops per day and about 15 tanks, main battle tanks. 2 days ago, actually, Russia lost 10 tanks with 1 Ukrainian drone strike. Members of the Ukrainian unit White Wolves destroyed 10 Russian tanks. They used drones with thermal cameras. There are videos of the entire destruction. There's a lot of discussion how this was done, because to destroy a tank with a drone that drops grenades or drops munitions, you cannot destroy a tank with a grenade. It can destroy the optics perhaps, but to destroy a tank you need at least 81mm or 120mm and a direct hit. Because even if 120 lands next to a tank, it might do nothing to the tank. And a drone that carries 120 or 81, it has to be big. We're talking about Octo Chopper, maybe the R-18 that Ukraine is producing. 120mm munition weighs 16 kilograms. It's about this wide and this long. I mean, to put that on a drone, it has to be like a nuclear drone. Russia is in desperate need of more men to the front lines to continue their human wave tactics. I mean, these are the only tactics that have brought minor success to the Russian army. They have nothing else, so they have to continue to keep momentum. But men are running out, and the last mobilization was done extremely poorly and was extremely unpopular. About 750,000 people left the country because of it, and Russia cannot handle a blow like this before. So this time Putin is not declaring an open mobilization, but they're doing it secretly. Wagner has been permitted to open 40+ recruitment centers all over Russia. Prigozhin has stated that by summer they would recruit 30,000 new fighters, who will of course be used as cannon fodder. Students from the Russian Moscow Aviation Institute, who have graduated from a specialist program, are denied their graduation diplomas unless they sign the summons to the military registration and enlistment office. Basically, they're forced to go into the army, otherwise they won't get their degree. We're talking about specialists who have studied for 4 to 5 years to be extremely good at one very specific narrow field, and that could benefit Russia. I don't understand the logic. Training specialists like that is extremely expensive. Russia has poured in that money, and now when this training ends, they could use it. They could benefit it in the work market. But immediately they will be pulled into the army and probably used as cannon fodder also. Alright, let's watch a video about Prigozhin. I have not included him in about 2 videos. I know you guys miss him. I also miss his drunken voice. Video translated by Dmitry, aka War Translated. Prigozhin is asked about the Russian perspectives in the future this year. This is his answer.
Перспективы туманные. Я уже говорил, мы должны тут все воздушные пузыри, которые у нас в огромном количестве есть. Надо сконцентрироваться на одном, на том, чтобы побеждать. А это значит держать линию фронта, двигаться вперед, забыв разногласия, обиды и все остальное. А пока идут интриги, разборки в колеса, то они мешают воевать. Поэтому каковы будут перспективы и что нужно делать? Нужно сконцентрироваться и ждать.
Wait for the strikes, I think it means the Ukrainian spring counteroffensive, which, you know, the Russian Minister of Defense and Prigozhin, they all well know that this is coming because they see Ukrainians gathering forces right now. The more time goes on, the more it goes from Russia to try to take land to, okay, we gotta prepare for this counteroffensive. We should stop trying to take land because when they hit hard.
Со стороны противника и быть готовыми отразить эти удары. Я думаю, что на подготовку у нас еще пару недель. А потом, если мы не сделаем, как говорится, будет поздно пить боржой.
We have borjomi in Estonia. It's a Georgian mineral water, and I really like it. After workout, it's nice to drink it. And they have a few weeks of preparation before Ukrainian counteroffensive begins. I would actually say a month even. I don't think before a month ends they would start. My friends, I will now read you 5 Patreon names. Patreon keep this channel going. I haven't accepted much sponsors right now, and I can do it because of the Patreon. So, if you like the channel, Patreon links in the description below. Rob Kokle, Noelun Ruch, Peter McKinnerney, Timothy Macken, Frank D. Thank you, my friends, and thank you to these 5 Patreons. And as always, my friends, until my next video, Slava Ukraini.